Hi guys, this is Online School of Creativity, and in this video I'm going to take you through the basics of Adobe Photoshop. So if you have not even opened Photoshop before, don't worry, just watch this video to the end. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so that I get notified each time we upload new tutorials. Don't also forget to comment on our videos, like and share. So without wasting much time, I will take you through what we are going to talk about today. So please, today I'm going to take you through how you create a new document, all the preset details, and many more. I will also take you through Photoshop interface, how you add new panels, how to arrange your interface, how to close, how to lock and unlock layers, how to add new layers, how to delete them, how to change colors, how to remove tools, and how to add tools, and many more. From there, I'll also take you through the most used tools. This is a free tip. At the end of the tutorial, I'll show you how to design this for free. So please don't forget to watch it to the end and subscribe. Thank you. So we'll be talking about the move tool, how to move objects, images, layers, text, the rectangular marquee tool, how to select rectangular shapes, the rectangle tool, how to draw rectangle or how to draw rectangular shapes, the pen tool for drawing of shapes, the gradient tool for giving your background multiple colors, the frame tool for putting your image in frames, and you also have spot healing brush for healing or removing dots from your images. We will also talk about brush tool for brushing and painting, and the eraser tool for erasing, and many more. Then from there, I'll take you through the layer style. So we'll be talking about bevel and balls, how to increase its depth, size. We have highlight mode, the color. We also have how to add contour, the different types of contour, how to add texture, different types of texture, how to add drop shadow, how to increase its size, distance, blend mode, opacity, angle, inner shadow, color overlay, how to change your color into a single color, how to also add gradient overlay, how to add multiple colors, how to change the colors to any colors you want, and many more. From there, we'll be talking about how you work with images, how to place images onto your project, how to remove its background, how to place images like this, how to remove its background, how to also work with text, how to change its colors, the alignment, the size of the text, and the font family, the font name, and many more. I'll also take you through the filter panel. The different settings under filter panel, the filter gallery, the camera raw, the lens correction, and blur, how to blur your images, and many more. I'll also take you through adjustments, the different adjustment settings, how to add brightness, vibrance, hue and saturation, how to also change your images to black and white, and many more. Then from there, I'll take you through the different export settings, like the JPEG, the PSD, how to save documents so that I can continue your project next time, how to save documents without a background, and many more. So this is what we are going to talk about today. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that I get notified each time we upload future tutorials, and let's get started. So you go to File, New, you can create a new document. Those that are opening the Photoshop for the first time, you will see something like Home. So when I click on Home, it will take me to this place. When you open your Photoshop first time, you will see this thing. So you can click on Create to create a new document, or you can click on Open to open an existing document. But if this is your first time, then it means that you create a new document by clicking on Create. Or you can also create a new document by going to File, New. So this is a new document panel. You see recent documents. If you have opened the Photoshop before and you have worked with Photoshop, the document that you have worked before will be under recent. So since I've opened Photoshop before, that's why you see I have recent document. But you have not opened Photoshop before, you are not going to see any document under recent. And saved. If you have saved documents on Adobe stock, then you are going to see the documents here. But since I've not saved any documents, I don't have any documents here. You also have photo. Those that you are going to do photography, and these are common templates for you. Or if you are a photographer, these are common templates that you can print out, so you can select any of them that you want. Print, those that you are going to do flyers, books, book covers, and many more. These are common templates that will help you. You have A4, A3, A5. You also have DL, those that you are going to print, do design for envelopes. You have art and illustrations. Those that are going to do illustrations, I think Adobe Illustrator is the best software for illustration. You can also use Photoshop, but Adobe Illustration is the best software. We will be uploading Adobe Illustration tutorials, the tips and tricks on this channel, so you can also check out on that. Web, those that are going to export their designs onto a website, these are also common templates that you can select from. We also have mobile. We have specific mobile templates. So iPhone X, iPhone 8, 7, 6, and 6 Plus. You have iPhone 8, 7, and 6. You also have Apple Watch, iPhone 5, and many more. Last one is film and video. Those that they want to also export their designs to video editing softwares like Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, DaVinci Resolve, Camtasia, and many more. You can select these templates, the template that corresponds to the video you have shot. Do you understand? Maybe 1080 or 720, maybe 4K. You can select a template here and do your design, then you export it onto your video editor. Okay, so today I'm not going to print out, but I'm using print and A4 sheets since it's the most common one. Then I will name my document online. This is the width, this is the height. You can type in manually. This is the measurement. Today I'm going to use pixels. You can use inches, centimeters, and many more. This is the orientation. You can use landscape or portrait. This is the resolution. I'm using 300 today, but you can change to 72 or anything you want. This is also the measurement for the resolution. The RGB, I will talk about the CMYK and the RGB, that is under color mode. RGB is basically used for digital platforms. Those that you're going to export on websites, mobile phones, they are going to use on their social media platform. You can use RGB because it has more colors. But when you're going to print it out, CMYK will be better because CMYK will reduce the color so that there will be no difference between your printed out work and what you see on the screen. But when you use RGB and you also go and print it out, sometimes if your printer is not good, there will be a slight difference between the printed out work and what you see on the screen. Some printers are also good, so you can still use RGB. So today I'm going to use RGB because I'll be using this on my phone. I will not print. You can also change the background. You can see it to black. I'm going to use white, and I'll click on create. So our next subtopic is the interface. So I'm going to take you through the Photoshop interface. You can see that you have the toolbar here. All the tools are here. And before I start, I'll go to Window, Workspace, and Reset. Then I'll reset Essentials. Then if today is the first time you are opening your Photoshop, I think you get this interface. What you do is that you need more room for your layer panel, and you understand this later. So I will close all these panels so that I'll get more room for my layer panel. Okay, I'll click on this small icon to unlock the layer. You can also click on it to lock it and unlock. You can add different panels that you want to use them. Then you can also close them. You can move them to any place you want. You can also remove, place any place, and you can also close. So this is the Photoshop interface. And I'll move to the most used tool, which is the next subtopic. And from there, you understand much about the interface. So the tools are many. I'll be talking about the most used ones, the ones that designers use it often. So I'll talk about the Move tool. When you put your cursor on every tool, Photoshop explains the function of the tool. It also gives you a visual impression and a shortcut. So the Move tool is used for moving, selection, and the shortcut is V. So I can move this, can move that, I can also move this. So that's the function of the Move tool. Then you also have rectangular marquee tool that is used for selection of rectangular shapes. You can press Ctrl D to deselect, or you can also press Command D on Mac. You also have the elliptical marquee tool that is used for selection of circular shapes or oval shapes. Then we also have the frame tool. That one will help you put an image into a frame. For instance, if I want to put any image into a frame, you see now the image is inside the frame. Brilliant. I'll press Ctrl Z or Command Z to undo. Then I will move to the crop tool. The crop tool helps you to crop your images, your layers, your shapes, and many more. Press Ctrl Z or Command Z to undo. We also have the gradient tool. This is the gradient tool. It will help you to get multiple colors. You can click here and click on this small icon to change the colors to the color you want. So maybe I want blue. I'll just click on blue color and I'll click here and also change to another color. Then I'll just I'll click on my mouse, left click, press and hold and drag, then boom. But since I'll press Ctrl Z to undo, then I'll change this color so that there will be different, so that I can see it very well. Okay, so let me press or left click, hold and drag, then you can see that I have multiple colors using the gradient tool. We have the blend mode, which I will be talking about later. Then the opacity. When I press Ctrl Z, you can see that now I've reduced the opacity. You see, now it's transparent, you can see through. I'll press Ctrl Z again. We have different type of gradient settings that you can select from. When you press on it, you can see this is the radar gradient, and when you drag, you can see that there is a circular shape, and I'll be talking about it when I go to the gradient panel and you understand it very well. So without wasting my time, I'll go to another tool. Let's say the pen tool is also a common tool which is used for drawing shape. You can hold, click, you can right a left click and drag. Just drag to draw any shape you want. Any shape, you can use the pen tool. Those that are going to do cartoon, you can also use the pen tool. You can change the feather radius, then you click on OK for selection and press Ctrl D to deselect. Then I will also talk about the rectangle tool. That one is used for drawing of rectangles, shapes, and many more. And you have some settings here. You have the fill. You can change its color to any color you want. You can click on this icon to add a new color to the color. To add new color to the color panel. Okay. You can also change or add stroke, because when you click on this, then there is no color. But when you click on any color here, then you add a stroke color. You can click on this to increase the stroke and see that the stroke is what is outside the box, and you can change it to big dots, small dots, and many more. You can also make this one the fill none, so that it's only be stroke, no fill. So you also have elliptical one, which is used for drawing of circular or oval shapes. You also have rounded rectangle tool. That one will give you round shapes around. Let me increase the size so that you can see it very well. You can see that here has become rounded. I can click on this to link both, so that when I change, all of them will change. I'll change it to maybe 120. I want to make sure that all of them change. Okay, so because this was at 150 already, let me unlink it. Let me draw another using the rounded shape. I can also close the layer by just clicking on this eye. I've not closed it, but I've hide it. Okay, so when I click on this, now they are linked. Let me add 10 to it. You can see that now we have rounded shapes around the rectangle or the rectangle we have here. So now we can also unlink it so that we change only one size. And you can see that all these are rounded, but this one is not round. Okay, so we would move to the next tool. We have another tool that we call this one, which is the dodge tool. The dodge tool is very important for those that they will be working with images mostly. You can use the dodge tool. This is the dodge tool to brighten your image. You see, you're adding brightness to your image. You can also use the blur tool to also blur the image. I would move to what we call the eraser tool. The eraser tool is used for erasing. You see, those are, if sometimes when you remove a background, you can see there is small things that you want to erase. So you can use the eraser tool, and if you have not selected a layer, you can't erase. So right now I've selected this image and I can erase. If I select this, I cannot erase. And if the layer is not also rasterized, you can't erase. You can see that when I select this, there's a small icon, then Photoshop is telling me to rasterize the image before I proceed. Then I click on OK before I can erase. And you have different eraser settings. You can increase the size, you can change it. When you reduce the hardness, then the eraser becomes smooth. So you can see that the eraser will have smooth edges. So let's bring it here and let's see. I have eraser that you want to erase this, and you want to use a smooth eraser. This is a hard eraser unless I rasterize it before I can erase. You see, this is a hard eraser. I can see it have hard edges. But when you reduce the hardness to 0, then the eraser becomes smooth eraser. So you see, it has smooth edges. And you can reduce the opacity of the eraser. Now it's at 2, so you can't see. And increase it. You can see I've reduced the opacity. You can also reduce its flow. You can change the opacity also here. Press Ctrl or Command Z to undo. Okay, so the next tool we're talking about is the brush tool. It's just used for brushing, drawing. You can use to draw any shape. You can also use for painting. You also have different settings. You can increase the size. You can see the flow is at 41. You can increase the flow. So the brush tool, you have different kind of. I'll press Ctrl or Command Z to undo. You have different brush that you can also choose from. You have dry brushes. See, let me increase the size so that you can see it very well. You can see. So the brush, you can use it for many things. You can use it for painting, drawing. You can use the brush to create a beautiful background. Let me hide this layer. Both of them are on the same layer, so when you hide, you hide all of them. So let me create a new layer for this, and let me hide this one. So I can use this. We have brushes that are flowers, so you can use to create flowers. So please, you can email me so that I can give you free brushes, and besides that, I can get free brushes for your backgrounds. online school at onlineschoolofcreativity.com. That's our web mail. You can email us. Thank you. So from there, I'll be talking about another tool that we call the zoom tool. Is there, but that one you can press Ctrl or Command plus or Ctrl plus minus to zoom in and zoom out. You can also use the zoom tool and you zoom. You see these two small icons, you can choose the minus, then click to zoom out. You can choose this one to zoom in. Do you understand? Okay. You also have the hand tool that will help you to pan around, but there is a shortcut. Let me put the icon on the move tool. You press the space bar key, then you can see that you can pan around. Okay. You also have this is a brush history, which you are not going to use it often. Press Ctrl plus minus to zoom out. Okay. Then so object selection tool. The object selection tool will help you select an object from a group of objects. So when you drag around the object, Photoshop will automatically select that object. Then you can press Ctrl C and V to copy that object onto a new layer. So you can see that Photoshop have automatically selected that object by just dragging around it. So that is the function of the object selection tool, and it's found in Photoshop 2020. Then I'll move to the next tool. We have another tool that we call the magic eraser. The magic eraser. When I have this beautiful logo and it have a background and I want to remove this background, I'll just take the magic eraser tool and I'll click anywhere, and Photoshop will automatically remove the background for me using the magic eraser tool. Then I'll go to another tool that we call the paint bucket tool. That one, when you select that tool and you just click on the layer, Photoshop will automatically paint the layer for you based on the color you have selected here. So if I change the color to blue and I click on it again, Photoshop will paint for me based on the color. So that's the function of the paint bucket tool. Then when I'm working with images, talk about some of the tools, so don't worry. So since I'm done with the tools, these are the most common ones we'll be using to design this and you understand it more. So I want us to talk about the effects panel or the layer. Let me hide this. The effects or the layer styles. You understand? The effect panel or the layer styles. So I'll be using this rectangular shape to demonstrate that. So I'll right click on the rectangular shape, then I'll go to blending options. Then it will open the layer styles. So first thing I'll talk about bevel and emboss. You see, I just click on this and you have seen that there is a total difference. You see, this one is just a raw flat image or shape, but you can see that they have a bit of what contrast. They have shape to the shape to make it more nice. You can see that there are different settings. Outer bevel, these are the outer. You also have inner bevel, have emboss, pillow emboss, and stroke emboss. So this one with the stroke emboss, unless you add stroke before you can see. So let me increase the stroke size. You can see that when I close this, you can see this flat, but the bevel and emboss have affected the stroke. So we can also change the stroke and everything that we will add, all the contour. You can also add contour. The contour will change the shape of the bevel and emboss. So you can select any of the shape, the one that you think is beautiful or nice to you. Then the texture, you see, you have different kind of texture. You see, this is very beautiful. Let's change it from stroke emboss to emboss so that we can see it well. You see, it affects both the stroke and the fill. The inside is the fill and what around it is the stroke. So you can see that we are under bevel. You can change, you have angle, you can change the angle, you can change the softening to make it soft. You can also change the size, the direction down and up, and the depth. The texture, you can change the scale, you can also change the depth. Then you can also add, you have already talked about stroke, is under color. You can also change to gradient to add multiple colors. You can also change to pattern. So the pattern will help us add texture to the stroke. This is beautiful. You understand? But we'll be talking more about stroke when we get to gradient, when we get to gradient overlay. So let's talk about inner shadow. Let's change the blend mode to normal. And let's increase the opacity. Let's add distance, size, choke, the angle. You can see, let's turn it off. You can see that there is shadow inside the box. That's what we call inner shadow. Let's also talk about inner glow. Inner glow. Let's increase it to 100%. Set the blend mode to normal. And let's add the size. You can see that since the glow is white, the color is white. You can change the color to any color. Now it's red. You can change it to. You can see that this beautiful violet inside is what we call the inner glow. Also have soften. You can see that the is at, let's change to normal. The color is at multiply. The color is red, so let's change the color to any color we want. You see, the soften, it applies interior shapes that creates a very softening finish. So that's what the soften basically do. So you talk about the color overlay. The color overlay will help us to select a single color. You understand? So now this is the inner glow and this is the inner shadow, and we are adding different color which we call the color overlay. So the color overlay will help us to select a color. So now the color is white. You can change it to any color that you want. Any color at all. You can also add gradient overlay, but unless we turn off the color overlay. You see, the gradient overlay will help us to add multiple colors. You can click on this small icon to change the color. You can see that you are changing the color. You can also click on this to also change. To also change the color. Do you understand? So we also have outer glow. You see, the inner glow, it adds. We have already talked about pattern and what it does, so it's not necessary. We also have outer glow. The outer glow is opposite of inner glow. That one adds glow at the outer part. Since the color is white, that's why you can see. Let's choose red and let's see. Let's increase the opacity. The opacity is at, we have reduced the opacity, and let's change it to normal. And let's increase the spread. You can see I've increased the size. See, this is the glow around it. That's what we call outer glow. Let's talk about drop shadow. Let's turn this off and let's talk about drop shadow. With drop shadow, you can, the drop shadow is black, the distance, the spread. You can see that, you can see this is the drop shadow. Beautiful. There are different settings. If you want me to talk about only the layer styles, please just go to the community, send me a tutorial request, or you can send your tutorial request through our web mail, onlineschool@onlineschoolofcreativity.com, and please, we will do the tutorial for you. Please just send us a request. You can also send a request by commenting under this video. Thank you. So this basically, you can do this to text, shapes, images, and many more. And this is what we call the effect panel or the layer styles. So without wasting my time, I'll just click on OK, and it will apply to, and you can see all. You can turn, I've turned bevel and emboss. I can also turn off stroke. I can also turn it on. The eye help you to hide and unhide certain things. You understand? Okay. So without wasting my time, I'll move to the next step, working with images. So working with images, you can go to File, Open, and you can open your image. When you open an image, it will open it on a fresh page or a new page. But when you want to open although you can open it when you open on a fresh page, what you do is that you unlock the layer, then you drag and drop onto your layer. But because the size of the image is bigger than the layer, that's why. So I just zoom out by pressing Ctrl. I zoom out by pressing Ctrl plus minus. Then using the show transform, I have reduced the size, and I'll click on this icon to proceed, and I'll press Ctrl plus plus or to zoom in. Okay. When you want to place, let me hide this. When you want to place, for instance, I want to place the image on my work, I'll go to File, then I'll click on Place Embedded. That one, the image will not open at a different place, but it will open on my work. Okay, I can click on this to cancel. Then I can also go to File again, then I'll place Link. That one too, the image will open on my project. But when you go to open and you open the image, that one, the image will open at a different place. Okay, so that's the difference. So if you want to remove this image background, it's very simple. I didn't talk about the object select tool and the quick selection tool. The reason is that I wanted to use it here. So I can click on this fourth tool and select the object selection tool. It's a new tool, so if you are using Photoshop 2019 or previous one, I don't think you can see this on Photoshop 2020. And I'll just drag and draw this around my objects, and Photoshop will automatically select the object and Photoshop will leave the background. I'll press Ctrl D to deselect, and I'll draw again. I'll do this so I get, when I press Ctrl plus C plus V or Command C and V, you see the image. And since I didn't do it well, that's why you see this. So what I'll do is that I'll press the delete key and I'll delete this. And then I'll use the quick selection tool, then I'll draw it around everything, and I'll allow Photoshop to select it for me. You see, the Photoshop is not working well with this image. So let's try another image and let's see. Okay, let's try this image and let's see. I'll press Ctrl plus plus to zoom in. Then I'll use the object selection to draw around this. See. So if Photoshop is not working well, then I'll press this small layer mask icon. Because the image is so closer to the color, that's why you see, and this is when the eraser tool will set in. So when you remove a background and you have images, and when you remove your image background and you realize that you can also press the bracket key to increase and decrease the size of your brush, and you can also zoom in so that reduce the size, and this will help you to clean the flow. I'll increase the flow and the opacity, then I'll reduce the size of the brush. You see, this is the work of the brush. You understand? So with the object selection tool, or how to select Photoshop background, what you do is that you will not use an image that is too closer. You will not use an image that is too closer to the background so that there will be a reflection on the image. Let's open another image and work. So you need to understand how image works before you can select the image background, unless you find it very difficult to select. Let's try this one. This image have a blur background. Let's try. So I'll draw around the image and I'll ask Photoshop to select that subject for me. Then I'll click on this layer mask tool. You can see that Photoshop did a brilliant job, but there is sharp edges around. You understand? So let's also try another image. Sorry, by opening a different image. Let's try this one. The same object selection tool. Click on layer mask. You see, Photoshop did a brilliant job again, but there are also sharp edges. So this is how you are going to remove backgrounds. Let's press Ctrl D to deselect. You can also use the pen to cut your image. Don't forget, this one you take your time and you make sure you draw it around your image so that you get a correct one. You understand? Then you right click on any of the points, then you make selection and you press OK. Then you press Ctrl or Command C and V to copy the selected image. So this is how you are going to also use the pen tool to remove your image background, but that one takes a lot of time so that you cut it very well to get the correct one. So if you want me to talk about only the pen tool, how to work with only the pen tool, please send me a tutorial request and I'll do so for you. Thank you. So I'll hide this layer and I'll continue with the images. So with the images, one thing is that we can add several things to it, but I will talk about that when I go to the adjustments. I'll use the images. Okay, so without wasting my time, I'll move to how to use text, and this is the text tool. I'll close. You click on this small icon so that you can close. I'll close this one for now. So I'll use this text tool. You see, when you click on this, you have the chance to change the color of your text. You can change the alignment. You can also change the size. You can change the font name to any font you want. Then you just click anywhere, then you just start to type. you can make it capital by pressing your caps lock key. So online school. Okay, let me write my website name. Online School of Creativity.com. So with the show transform controls, I can reduce its size so that I can see it well. So with the text tool selected, I can still change the font name to any font name. I can also change its settings. Some fonts doesn't have any settings. I can see that this one have only regular, italic, and bold. I can see that when you take this one, it has several settings. I can select the black. I can read, or I can change the color again to any color I want. I can change the alignment. I can change its size again, and I'll press this to proceed. Show transform again, I can reduce its size. You can also press shift so that I can only reduce the size from one hot direction. But when you don't add the shift key, you see, let me click on proceed. When you don't add the shift key, you see, when you don't add the shift key, it will move. Let me try moving this one. You see, it's moving everything. But when you try to add the shift key, you can move only one direction. Beautiful. So the text tools, we can select vertical. Those that they want to use vertical, fine. But so you can write, but you see, most often what we use is the horizontal one. So this basically everything about the text tool. And don't forget that the text tool, you can go to the blending options and you can add all this drop shadow. You see the size is very big, that's why. You see this is a drop shadow. You can add bevel. Let's zoom it so that I can see it well. You can add bevel and emboss. You can add stroke. The stroke is too big. You can add color overlay. You can also add gradient overlay. So the layer styles, you can add it to basically everything: shapes, text, images, and many more. And can use this place to design your text beautiful. You can add texture to your text. So let's zoom out. And let's go to the filter panel. That's the next topic or subtopic. Brilliant. I'm going to use this image to demonstrate the filter panel. The filter panel, first I'll talk about the filter gallery. You can use, and I'll reduce you see, we have different things here that you can use it to change your image. This one is artistic designs that can change your image design. You can cartoon your images. If you want me to talk about how to use the filter gallery to do cartoons, to add oil painting to images, please send me a tutorial request. Okay, I'll also talk about the camera raw. You see, the camera raw filter, you can add the adjustments, which I'll be talking about that one later in this video. So you can add temperature to your image, the exposure, the contrast, the highlight, the shadow. I'll talk about this, but when you talk about exposure, you can see that you are adding brightness to the image. You can also add contrast, highlight. The highlight is the brightest part of an image, and the shadow is the darkest part of the image. And the white also talks about the brightness, the white area, and the black talks about the dark areas. So I'll talk about when I'm talking about adjustments. Then let's also talk about blur. We have different type of blur. Let's talk about Gaussian blur. You can use the Gaussian blur to blur your image. Let's click on OK. You can see that let's go to blur, Gaussian blur. You can see that let's reduce the blur. Let's add more blur. You can see that so you can blur your background, not only image, you can also blur your background. You realize that this image that I opened was having a blur background, so you can do same here. You can see that here is blur, and you can do that using the filter panel. You can also add 3D. You can add 3D to test. Basically, we use 3D for test designs. So I'm going to talk about 3D in a different tutorial. So please subscribe to the channel. There are more upcoming videos that will boost your graphic design and take it to the next level. Thank you. So I have a separate tutorial on how to use all the blend modes, but when you go through the difference, these two, normal and dissolve, they are the normal one, but these ones are darkened, and this one are lightened. So you can see that this one darkens the image. The blend mode, I have this background and I have this image. Now there are two. So the blend mode, it blends two or more images together. So you can see that since it's this one and this one, the blend mode tries to blend the two images together. And this is the darkened part, and this is the lighting part. And you also have overlay, soft light. Please, I have a separate tutorial which explains every single blend mode through here. So please don't forget that you send a request tutorial so that I'll upload it for you, or you also comment in the comment section by sending us or asking for a tutorial, and we will do that for you. Thank you. So then I'll talk about layer mask. Layer mask is very simple. We have this image. I'm going to use, let me close this one. I'm going to use this image. So I'll use the object selection tool, then I'll just drag around the image. Photoshop will automatically select the image, then I'll click on layer mask. Let me turn this, let me delete this and do this one again. Let me turn this off and use this one. Let me select the image again using the object selection tool, and Photoshop will select the image, and I'll click on this layer mask. In Photoshop, I've automatically removed the background. And the layer mask, white means reveal and black means hide. So let me use the eraser tool. Let me increase its size and hardness more. If I try to erase, see, then Photoshop is bringing me the background because so when you toggle around, now it's on black. So when I try to then it changes. So let me press Ctrl Z to undo. So basically the difference is that black means hide and white means reveal. So I'm just using the eraser tool, so let me delete it, and let me also delete this one. And I want to use a different image altogether so that I can explain the layer mask very well. Let me use this image. Let me change this one to white, and let me change background to what's black. So I'll use the object selection tool, then I'll select this. Then I'll click on the layer mask again. So you can see from the box that the white one here have shown the image, and the black is now the background. That's what's been removed. So when we try to use the eraser tool, where is it? Okay, and try to paint back, you can see that we are getting the background. And when we click on this and try to paint back, you can see that we are deleting the background. So white means reveal and black means hide. That is the difference. So that is all about layer mask. So from there, I'll move to the adjustment panel, and I'm going to use my main project image for the adjustments. There are different ones, but first, you see, when you go to image and you go to adjustments, you have the adjustments here. When you click on this small icon here too, you have several adjustments here, but this one is an adjustment layer, and that one is adjustment that affects the image or the object. But the adjustment layer, it affects everything below it. For instance, let's try black and white here. You can see that everything below have changed to black and white. This one is above. You can see. Let me drag it below. Now that one too is black and white. But if I tell Photoshop, this is adjustment layer, I tell Photoshop to clip what we call the clipping mask, Photoshop will clip it only to the object below it. So if you forget to do that, then it means that it's going to affect the double click to get the properties panel. You see, when you click, it affects only the image below it. When you forget or you don't add clipping mask, then it affects everything below it. So that is adjustment layer. When you use adjustment layer, it affects everything below. Okay, so let me hide this. Let me close this, and let me use the adjustment. Let me select the image again, go to image adjustment and go to black and white. You can see that this one affects only the image. You can add reds, can add yellows, reduce yellows. you will change these settings so that you change these settings to your liking. Do you understand? The one that you think is nice to you, then you take. So this one helps you to add black and white to your image. You can also add brightness and contrast. You can see that the image become more brightened, and you can see you can add contrast to the image. You can reduce brightness so that the image become dark. Okay. You can also go to curves. Curves add color. You have red, green, blue. Curves add contrast or brightness also to your image. I'll go to image and adjustment and talk about vibrance. Vibrance, you also have saturation. Saturation will boost your color, will add more color. And a huge and saturation, you can find saturation there. This is saturation. Do you understand? And you can also change the hue to different hue. You also have color balance. That one is when you balance one color. Maybe you have an image, two images, and you want to balance the colors. That's where you use color balance. Do you understand? Okay. So this basically also everything about adjustments. But if you want me to take you through only maybe curves, how the curves works. The curve, the S curve shape, can see that have added brightness, contrast to the image, little bit of exposure. For me to take you through all the settings, please send a tutorial request so that I'll take you through everything. So before I'll talk about the export setting, what I will do is that I will do this design, the free tip, then finally I'll take you through the export setting. So this design, before I will start that, I'll close everything. Then this one was a thumbnail, so Photoshop thumbnail. Then manually, I type in manually 1080 by 720 pixels. Then create new. So you can see that with this image, maybe I'll be using different image, but this I'll drag this and drop it onto this. You can find this in the description. You can download for free. I took a screenshot when I was opening the Photoshop. I've just added some stroke. When you go to blending options, let me close it first and turn on the eyes. When you go to blending options, you can see that I've added stroke to it. This is just stroke. That is all. And here I use a rectangular to draw the shape. Let me close this. This one to blue. Then I rotated it so you can check it out. I did that. Okay, So what I will increase the size a bit. Okay, so now, and then I added stroke. I change the color to light blue. Nice. And the image to I'll drag. You get this is a Photoshop logo, so I'll put it here. I've added stroke. You go to blending options. I've added stroke. You can see that, and this is a stroke color. You can change the color. So I've added stroke, and the next thing is I'll place the image and I'll move it background. I'm going to use any of them. So I'll use this image with the help of the object selection tool. I'll just drag around this. Now I'll click on this layer mask tool to remove the image background, and then I reduce it. I'll press shift so that I can drag one direction. You can use any image to do it. Then the next thing, I have some shape. I use a rectangular tool to view the shape. I'll take this property panel from this area, then I'll close it. Then I'll arrange my layer very well. Nice. So the color is white. I'll change it to blue, and I'll drag this layer so that it will be I want it to come below this shape. Nice. And I'll go to blending option. Then I'll use gradient overlay so that I'll get double colors. And I add a bit of drop shadow. Okay, this is what I did. Then I'll put this one here. I'll press Ctrl J, that's a shortcut for duplicate, and I'll duplicate this and I'll bring it down. Okay, so then I'll use the text to write. So you can select your text tool, then you write, you type. Adobe, the text is too big, so I'll press this because I can still proceed, so I'll just reduce small. So I'll continue with the writing. Adobe Photoshop crash course. So this is how I added the text. The last one, the beginner's guide, I can just drag and drop. I'll reduce its size by pressing shift down. Size. So you can see this is basically what I did for my camel, and you can also do the same. So this will help you to start designing your own thumbnails for your videos on YouTube. So if you are not going to even teach graphic design, you are going to do thumbnails, and thumbnails will attract people to watch your videos. So don't forget, share these videos to your friends who want to start YouTube channel, so that they will know and understand how to use Photoshop and how to get started. You understand? So that they will be able to create beautiful thumbnails so that people will like, share, comment, and subscribe to their channel. Without wasting my time, let's go through the last topic, which is the save as or the export settings. So you click on save on your computer. So these are the different type of export settings. When you save it as PSD, you will be able to, you will get, it will be saved like this, so that when you click on it, it will open your work in Photoshop so that you can continue next time. So it's very important, all your work, you must first save it PSD so that anytime you can continue your work. But if you want it in a picture form like JPEG, you can select JPEG. Then you just click on save. You can choose maximum, medium, doesn't matter. Then just click on OK. Then this is your work. You can open it and check. You understand? So this is JPEG form. This is your work. You can also save it if you don't want a background. For instance, let's try to turn many things off. Let's leave this image. Let's turn everything off. If I want this image and I don't want, let me turn the background off. I don't want the background. And you go to save as and go to save on your computer. Don't forget that you select the PNG. That one, you will not get a background. So when you want to export it to your website, anywhere that you don't want a background, and let's close this. Let's try to bring the work that we have just saved, and let's see. You can see here that it doesn't even have a background. And let's drag, let's go to file, place, trying to drag, let's place it. You can see beautiful, it doesn't have a background. So your logos and many things that you don't want a background, select PNG and save it as PNG. So if you want to continue your work, you can save it as what? PSD. If you want also to as a picture, you can save it as JPEG. If you can save it as many formats. We have PDF, many formats that you want, but the most common one is you want picture JPEG. If you don't want a background, PNG. If you want to continue your work, PSD. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I hope you have learned a lot. Please, maybe there is something that I didn't talk about it. Just send me a request and I will do that for you. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so that I get notified each time we upload new tutorials. And please don't also forget to share this video to friends and families. Thank you for watching the video, and bye bye.